It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Welcome back to the program. We've got Republican Mark Johnson on the phone. He is running for the open seat, District 15. Mark, how you doing? Did you survive the wet weather yesterday?
I did, and actually had a great day. I had an opportunity to go to New Dixie, Arkansas. If you haven't been there, that's in Perry County. St. Boniface Church had their bazaar, and it's a wonderful little community over there. 19th century Catholic community. A lot of German immigrants came over to Perry County. One of the most beautiful churches in Arkansas. If you've never been over and seen St. Boniface, I encourage people to go out Highway 60 and see it sometime.
What do you?
Great group of people.
What's the feeling there as you're campaigning? What are people most concerned about?
It's interesting how we can talk about a lot of what I call inside baseball things, Paul, but people are definitely concerned about the corruption. It concerns them. They almost always ask me where I stand on life issues, and I'm 100% pro-life, and they always ask me where I am on the Second Amendment, and I tell them that I believe that shall not be infringed means exactly what it says, and I think people feel that the Second Amendment is definitely under attack around the country, and they're closing ranks to defend the Second Amendment. And that's not to say they're not concerned about more parochial issues and can they get their roads fixed and things like that, but that really motivates people. And they're also every now and then someone will specifically ask me about the corruption issue, the conviction of John Woods, and especially when they see my push cards where I talk about trying to push some ethics legislation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talk about that. What would you want to do ethically to try to reform this? We were just talking about some earlier efforts. You had Senator Brian King trying to reform with ethics, but it gets defeated. And then Senator Linda Collins Smith tried to make it illegal for attorneys to also be, passing bills for their clients for money. What would you want to see done ethically?
Well, I think there's two ways we have to approach it. One is through rules in the House and Senate. Each one would do their own rules. I think last time I was on your show, I mentioned a rule change that the late Senator Jim Argue, a Democrat, a liberal Democrat, and Senator Webb, Dora Webb, now our state party chairman, tried to get through, that was defeated by the BB coalition in the Senate at that time. That would have specifically, it wouldn't have stopped them from working on bills. It would just cause them, they would have to recuse and on anything that would affect their clients. And it was watered down to where it was meaningless. We need to take another look at that type of thing. We also need to look at legislation. I believe, Paul, that if you make the penalties for corrupt activity so severe that people just won't do it, then it would really make it. People would really stop and think, because a lot of times these guys just think they can get away with it. Now, I have to admit that when I saw the evidence that was brought forth by the FBI in the Jake Files case, and you referred to the things long before he pled guilty, but that was the thing that caused me to go on your show and call for his resignation.
Yes.
All this evidence was in the public record. It wasn't like it was buried in some file cabinet at the FBI. They had released this evidence to the public. And how these people think they can get away with this is beyond me. The first thing we should look at as well is that, as you've noted, a lot of these trials and all this investigation, this is done at the federal level. We haven't really seen much going on the corruption at the state level. We obviously need to relook at state laws about this and empower our prosecutors and possibly even the Attorney General's office to have some kind of teeth there that can go after this type of thing.
I think you're exactly right on that point. I think there's also, I think people get in deep. Jake Files obviously wasn't the most unlucky businessman in the state, like he was essentially claiming. He was innocent of everything that was happening to him. But, I mean, you look at the house that he was living in. It was this huge mansion. The amount of money that he was making. So when it came time to steal what was essentially $14,000 in taxpayer money and pocket it, that's nothing to him. I mean, that's a lot of money to most Arkansans, $14,000. But for him, state senator on revenue and tax, just trying to flip something else to keep the gravy train going and moving this fund here, $14,000 was nothing. It was not a big deal, and that's why they think they can get away with it. Or it's as petty as Mike and Neil saying that he saw some autographed photos of Michael Jordan and Pete Rose baseball bat in John Wood's furnished apartment in Little Rock and said, man, John Woods must know how to make money, and this is the good life. An autographed photo of Michael Jordan I can buy on eBay for $75. I mean, that kind of stuff just kind of makes you scratch your head and being like, why are you in public office? Why are you making decisions that I'm going to have to live under? Anyway.
Well, it comes back to something that former Congressman J.C. Watts is quoted as saying, Paul, is that, it's doing the right thing when nobody's looking. That's what we have to have. That's the real measure of honesty in government. Is we've got to elect good people, and I know people can be corrupted. I've told many people that I remember when Nick Wilson first came to the Arkansas Senate, he was one of the reformers. But he got caught up in the culture of corruption. He saw the opportunity to make a lot of money and did, and finally got caught. And we learned from these things. And after the Nick Wilson convictions, we changed the rules where a former senator who was convicted of crimes related to corruption could no longer draw his pension.
Mm-hmm.
But Nick Wilson's drawing his pension today because we found out too late.
Mark Johnson, hey, I appreciate it. I'll give you the last word. I know you want to encourage everybody to get out and vote.
Well, our turnout looks like it's been down so far, and we want to encourage. This is a very important election. We want a clean house of corruption, and need your help to do it. District 15 is parts of Pulaski, Perry, Faulkner, Van Buren, and all of Conway County. And I sure encourage all my friends to come out and vote. Early voting, you have one more day today, and some limited locations, and of course the regular polling places will be open tomorrow morning from 8 to 7:30. So thank you for letting me come on, Paul, and encourage everyone. And regardless where you live in the state and can hear us, please go vote in this election. It's important.
Mark Johnson, I appreciate it. I appreciate you speaking out against this corruption. You have a great day. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Republican gubernatorial candidate Jan Morgan on the line.